Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of The Creative Businessmen. Today we have Tyler Galloway on the show with us. He's the lead guitarist for Riley Green, the country music star. And if you guys like the episode, be sure to like and subscribe. Tyler, I'm just going to let you talk a little bit about yourself and tell everyone who you are.
All right. My name's Tyler Galloway. I'm originally from Asheboro, North Carolina. Get this thing in the right spot here. Man, I don't even know where to begin. I play guitar for Riley Green. I've been his guitar player for going on 4 years now, something like that.
Wow.
Yeah, it's been actually I moved to Nashville May 6th, so I just had that was my anniversary 4 years ago that I moved there. So not quite 4 years, but it wasn't long after I moved. I got lucky and fell into it with them.
Yeah. So do you live in Nashville now?
That's where I'm based out of.
Okay.
My girlfriend lives here in Greensboro, so I'd rather be here anyway. So
right.
and especially with all this virus shit going on, I'm just hanging out here. So
that's cool.
It's been, I guess that's the silver lining of it.
Yeah.
But,
you getting more time with the lady.
Yeah.
And you gave her a shout out for everybody to hear.
Yeah.
Hearts are breaking as we speak.
Yeah. I don't know. But yeah, man, it's been a wild ride.
I'm sure, dude.
Yeah.
How did you get into music?
Well, it's like when I was probably, I don't know, my dad had me listening to like classic rock and stuff. So like we'd be tearing down. We did a lot of renovations on houses and stuff, and he always had the radio going on Rock 92. And so I just grew up on all that stuff, and so I always liked music and was just kind of drawn to it. And just the kind of artistic side of things, I always just kind of gravitated towards, I guess. And, but anyway, so yeah, I got into it just to listen to it with my dad, I guess. And then when I was probably around 8 or 10 or so, my granddad or my uncle, probably a kind of a combination of both over time, they kind of showed me a few things on guitar, just like a basic like 12-bar blues kind of rhythm thing or something. And I thought it was cool, but I didn't really take to it yet. And but then like when I'd be at my grandparents' house, I'd see like a guitar laying there, and I'd pick it up and mess with it.
So your grandfather was a guitarist?
He picked around just a little bit, but my uncle, he lived with my grandparents. My mom's brother, he was a guitar player like back in the 80s. So he had like the hair metal dreams, and all that. So I just kind of messed with it every once in a while. And then when I was 12, that Christmas, my cousin got a drum set like that day. And we were doing like a Christmas dinner thing. He's like, "Hey man, come check out my drum set." And so I went and checked it out. And his dad, I didn't even know he played. He's like my uncle by marriage, I guess, whatever. Yeah. But he brings out a guitar. It's this old like Squire Stratocaster, and I was just like, "Oh, cool." And played like that one or two things that I knew, and we sat there. He could already do like a basic drum beat, and we just sat there for hours. At least now, what felt like hours back then, just going over that. That was the first time I'd ever had like a connection with somebody else, like through music, and that was just like, holy shit, man, this is cool. So
just kind of know at that point that you wanted to.
Yeah, I was hooked. Yeah. I went home after that to an untuned guitar. Didn't know how to tune it because my parents had got me an electric, like a Strat, the year before, but I just didn't really care nothing about it. It just sat in the corner, for that first year. But then I started, I learned how to tune it finally and all that, and just started playing, man. And my cousin's dad or whatever, he started showing me stuff here and there, and I'd go home and practice, and then me and him we kind of started our first band together.
Oh, that's cool.
We were in 6th grade and played the talent show at our middle school.
Nice.
And yeah, that was the first like experience anything like that I had.
So you're like 11 years. Oh, you said you were 12. So
yeah, I was like 12, I think. It was. I'd probably been playing like 6 months or something before we did that talent show. And
oh wow.
At the time, it felt like probably like 300 people or something in the gym there, which I don't know how many it really was, but
that's probably accurate. Is that Sam's?
No, it was Uari.
Uari?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
But probably the same size. But yeah, that was it. And then we did that talent show like all 3 years that we were in middle school, and it was super cool. But man, that was it. I played guitar, and I was big in like skateboarding and just all the normal stuff, you know, that guys are into, and dirt bikes and stuff like that. But it didn't take long before like the guitar. Like I used to just sit in my room with no life and practice.
So you got obsessed with it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that was
Seems common in people that are really successful with one specific thing.
Yeah.
Which is good.
Yeah.
How often do you practice, or how often did you practice back then?
I mean, I didn't have like a regimented thing, but like, I mean, I've definitely sat down for 8 hours, you know, sit down and play a little bit, go eat something, come back and play. You know, I used to do that. Maybe not every day, but I mean, I did that quite a bit.
Okay.
But then there'd be days where I wouldn't even, you know, I'd be busy doing something else and wouldn't play. But yeah, it was pretty normal upbringing. Other than that, I just sat in my room and played. You know?
Tried to avoid people.
Therapeutic.
Yeah.
What? How often do you practice now?
Man, now I don't really practice near as much as I should. It's kind of embarrassing. Like all my buddies that are like really good guitar players are just putting videos up all the time, like practicing, and I'm like, oh man, I should be doing that. But I've been out in the shop, like I've been building a motorcycle over this time home, and I build guitars and just, you know, do repairs and all that kind of stuff. So I've been building a couple, and so I tend to, when I'm not on the road playing, I tend to like kind of do my other projects because playing is my job now, so it's kind of different. And but I mean, I still like to just sit down and play, and you know, I just don't do it as often as I used to or should.
Yeah. Well, after middle school, because I'm trying to remember if it was when you were in high school. I remember the first time because I've known Luke since Luke was like 8 or 9.
Yeah.
But I think you guys were probably early teens.
I started coming around. I met Luke when I was like probably 17, something like that. And I remember we were at McDonald's on Dixie Drive. Like they had that overhang thing in the back there, and that's like when all the car people used to like hang out there. And he was sitting there with a couple, like I think Zach and maybe somebody else, and our buddy Derek like introduced me to him, and I had that Toyota MR2 back then, and he was like, yeah, this is Luke, and I met him. He's like, oh yeah, you drive that real clean MR2, and I was like, yeah, and we just started talking, and then found out he played guitar and I played, and so he was like, let's get together and jam, and so we did, and he was the first person I knew that had like a real good, like an actual Gibson Les Paul, you know.
Oh yeah.
Like, I had like a shitty little Epiphone, and you know, stuff like that, and I don't know, that just started it. Me and him just hit it off, you know.
Yeah. What'd you do? You were playing in the talent shows in middle school. What about when you hit high school? I'm sure you just continued to do the same thing, or?
I didn't play as much like it. I mean, actually, there was a couple times I think I did take my guitar to school in high school, but man, honestly, I got out of playing. So like my freshman year, I had long hair and I was still obsessed with it. We did we played a bonfire. Like the first few weeks of our freshman year in high school, they had this big bonfire, and me, my buddy Seth, and God, who else was it? Man, I can't remember off the top of my head. It might have been my buddy Dustin and Blake. I can't remember, but anyway, we had this, you know, little band and played just like random kind of shows here and there. There's nothing.
What kind of music
serious.
did you play?
Back then, it was like rock stuff.
Okay. Cool.
You know. I used to play metal and everything, but before that, it was, you know, maybe like Pearl Jam type stuff.
Oh, okay.
Alice in
Alternative.
Chains. Yeah. We were big in like Alice in Chains, and
It's good music.
oh yeah, but yeah, they pulled up like this big old flatbed truck, and we played on the back of that, like to like our whole high school. So from then on, everybody knew, you know, he is like a guitar player and stuff. I wasn't the most popular by any means, but I had a lot of popular friends. Like I was cool with everybody.
Yeah, that's cool.
Just kind of stuck right there in the middle somewhere. but yeah, then I got out of it, man. I started lifting weights, and everything else went away. Again, I got obsessed with that, you know, and so I just started lifting all the time. And I don't know, I just got hooked on it, the cars, and I just started kind of growing into that and kind of getting away from guitar a little bit, because I was like trying to think realistically, and I didn't really think I'd have a future in playing. It's like,
Well, that age, you're also thinking about meeting girls and stuff too.
Yeah,
so,
the girl thing was happening, and just all that was.
It's a weird time.
It is, just kind of confusing and scary. I don't know. I didn't know what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And so I just kind of was like, all right, I need to start figuring something out, and just kind of put music on the back burner, because I didn't think that anything would ever come of that, because I'd watched people just try to go down that road of like being a professional musician and just end up with nothing, and I was just like, I don't want to be that. So
I'd say most of those guys don't play 8 hours a day either.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I was obsessed with it there for a while, and got my chops up. It was almost like, in a weird way, it was almost like there's a few other guitar players in school, and I just wanted to like, not just like be better than everybody, but just if somebody was playing something and I was like, oh yeah, I can do that. Like I wanted to know for myself that I could do it. Like,
right.
And so yeah, I definitely like practice enough to just be able to keep up with anybody.
Yeah.
But other than that, I wasn't really into it as much anymore, and didn't really play much. I ended up in a band, I think my junior year. I hadn't played, for like 2 years, and this guy, my buddy Jamie, hit me up and was like, hey man, we need a guitar player. It's like a pop band with a girl singer. and I was just like, this is not my thing, but I was like, I need to be playing. So I did it, and it was really cool, man. We played in the auditorium at our high school.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and I think we did one or two other shows. I know we did one at the bottom of a mountain up in Boone somewhere. Like in the winter time, it's like a ski slope. It was super cold, and I had like a stomach bug like the night before, and we were at the beach with like my family, and I was just like getting sick. Like it was like that 24-hour stomach virus thing, and so I was like, I don't know if I can do this, and I was like, well, I can't not play the show. And so my dad drove me from the beach to Asheboro, like showered, got ready, all that kind of stuff, and then he drove me to the mountains, and I played that show sick as a dog. And it
makes you better though, right?
Yeah. It was dealing with some adversity there.
Yeah.
But man, then I didn't really do a whole lot with it after that. And then a good friend of mine, my buddy Dustin, he was 2 years ahead of me in high school, and he left and joined the Marine Corps, and he came back with all his buddies like after he got out of boot camp and stuff, and we all hung out and got drunk one night, and I was just like, dude, this is awesome. And I was like already like into like lifting weights and just kind of just being active and stuff like that, and I was like, maybe this is something I could do. And I've got a lot of family that's been in the military, most of them Marines, and so I made it my mind like at the end of my junior year that I was going to do that. And so I went and signed up right before my senior year. I was in like the delayed entry program. Wet the whistle there. So my whole senior year, I was just gung ho, like Marine. I was ready to go. And so I was just getting ready for that, man. I played football, which I'd never played. I just played my senior year. I wasn't that good at it. I just didn't know what I was doing. I could run fast, but that was about it. And didn't really know what I was. I just, I guess looked a little intimidating at the time for a high schooler, but now it's like everybody's huge, and I don't know. It was just crazy times back then, man. But I left like 3 days after I graduated high school and went to Paris Island, and that was, I didn't really. Guitar was not even a thought anymore at that point.
So how long were you in the military?
I was only in about a year and a half, a little less.
Okay.
Yeah. So I got hurt. It was in boot camp when it happened, which is that's the crazy thing. We were doing just some combat training stuff, and I fell from my feet, just like a freak accident, and landed on my left shoulder, and just felt like a crunch, and I feel like I could hear it. I didn't know what it was. I thought I broke something, but I just kept going. I didn't want to. didn't want to get singled out or anything. And then I don't know, I think we did our swim quals after that. And after we did the swim qual, I remember having to swim with my left arm carrying a pack. And man, that night I woke up about screaming, just crying, because my shoulder just burned. I just remember the pain was just bizarre. It was just a weird thing I'd never felt. And I just kept pushing and just got through it. And I graduated with my class and everything. That was the thing. I didn't want to get dropped.
Right.
And have to spend more time on Paris Island than I had to. And they say the quickest way to get off the island is to graduate, and that, I believe, is 100% true. So I was like, I'm getting out of here. I'm graduating. Graduated, and then I got to MCT, it's Marine Combat Training, and it just got worse. And I just it started getting, if we were running and I had to hit my knees and post my arm down, I couldn't really do that with my left arm, and I was a right-handed shooter, so I couldn't hold my weight up with my left arm. And so I talked to a corpsman, and they dropped me from there, and I went to just called it SAT company. It was Student Administrative Company or something. Oh. Yeah, it was.
Did they check out your shoulder and see what was wrong with it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I just mashed and mangled up a bunch of nerves. And,
your brachialis.
I remember that word coming up.
Not brachialis. Your I think it's your brachialis.
Well, I know that my supra and infraspinatus muscles, if I'm saying that correctly, they were atrophied.
They atrophied. Yeah. Yeah. Part of your rotator cuff.
There wasn't a whole lot of damage, I don't think, to the rotator cuff. I think there was some, but it was more those muscles. Yeah. They were just gone. Then everything was bony. You could see it looked sunk in and all this. It was just crazy looking. Yeah. And yeah, it was weak. I couldn't do anything with it.
Yeah, after my accident, I did something similar. My left shoulder.
Yeah.
It was it's not the brachialis. It's the brachial plexus. That's what it is.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I damaged the brachial plexus, so I had the same thing happen. Mm-hmm. Those same muscles atrophied, and I lost all my strength. I couldn't push anything. With my left arm. Yep. But then it came back, fortunately, within about 6 months.
Yeah. Yeah, mine, it was similar. If I pushed on a door, my shoulder blade would stick out. I mean, they just call it winging or something. Yeah. But my left trap, I noticed it was my traps used to actually have some shape, and then and the left one was just small, and but man, it hurt. It was just a weird pain, this nerve, uncomfortable pain, and and I didn't know what to do, man. I couldn't do shit. So they dropped me to that other company or whatever, and I sat there for close to a year, waiting for my paperwork to get out, and it just never really got any better. But it stopped getting worse, I guess. Yeah. And so they, in that time also, they were really kind of pushing people out, kind of trying to downsize the military. And, so it didn't take long for them to be you're unfit for training, pretty much. And so I got out.
You don't want to be there working in an office either.
No. Yeah. I was I wasn't going to do that. So I got out, and I didn't know what I was going to do. I just kind of messed around for a year or so and tried to figure it out. And then I started doing electrical work. I met this guy that's an electrician, and just ended up talking to him. What do you like doing this kind of stuff? And he's like, yeah, man, I'm looking for somebody. And so I started doing that. Worked with him for a couple years and ended up going to RCC for electrical systems. And I had the GI Bill and everything, so life was good. I was getting paid to go to school and going for free pretty much. And I was in a band actually, basically right after I got out of the Marine Corps. A friend of mine bumped into somebody else that was looking for a guitar player, and they just happened to be in Asheboro. Guy hit me up, and I hadn't played in a long time. I mean, I'd picked it up and messed around a time or two, but hadn't really done anything with it. And that's what started where I am now.
What was the name of that band? Do you remember?
It was called Norlina.
Norlina. I was actually going to ask you if it was Norlina.
Yeah. It started out as Country Mile, I think. This guy Zach Bean, man, got to give that guy a shout out, because if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing now, because we had our differences for sure at times, and there was times, I was an asshole, he was an asshole, we butted heads, but he pushed me like nobody had ever pushed me, and that's how I got to where I am. I just learned how to do all that stuff, and learned how to play with a band.
Yeah,
it wasn't all about shredding anymore.
Right. So you were at RCC, and then with Norlina, how long were you doing that?
I guess I was in that band for probably a good 3 years, 3.5 years, something like that.
So at your point, you're about 24 maybe?
No, well, I joined that band at like 20 or 21.
Okay.
I think I maybe just turned 21 or something. And then I moved to Nashville when I was 24.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So that's when you decided to really pursue it.
Yeah. The band it was going good, but we went to Nashville and played a show for like CMA Fest. And I just fell in love with Nashville. And I was like, this is where we need to be, like if we're going to do this.
Right?
Yeah. And they were kind of more on the page of like, well, let's not be a small fish in a big pond, because here we were a big fish in a little pond. Like we were kicking ass around this area at that time, and really had a good thing going. We ended up getting a record deal, and everything kind of got a little different after that. There's just a lot of the typical stuff you kind of hear about, like labels, and I'm not going to mention names as far as the label goes or anything. But yeah, it just wasn't the greatest experience, and man, I just wasn't having fun anymore. Like I was like, this sucks. Like, it's fun playing shows, but like, just there were tensions, and there's just so many egos, and I think we had 6 people at one point in the band, and that's
a lot of people to get to agree on things.
It is, but it was tough, man. And I was like, we were just parting ways, And,
right.
I mean, I didn't hate any of the guys, but we just weren't gelling anymore.
Yeah.
And so I left. I was like, I'm moving. I'm going to go to Nashville and just give it a shot. And I wanted to move out of my parents' house. I wanted to like get out and do something, because the military didn't work out. And, part of me probably kind of felt like a failure for that. And so I was like, I got to get out and try something. And so I went for it. And, but yeah, like I said, it was May 6th. I was 24, packed up I had a Jeep Grand Cherokee, packed everything I could into that thing and moved. And I already had a house lined up. I knew some people there. And
cool.
Yeah.
So how long were you in Nashville before things took off for you? Like, what was your experience like when you first moved there?
Let's see. Well, through that band Norlina, we had I'd met Jason Michael Carroll. He did that song "Living Our Love" song a while back, and that was like the first kind of famous person I met. And we had a deal with a booking agency, or an agreement, whatever it was, and we had the same agent as Jason, and so we kind of got to meet him, and we kind of got to be buddies. And I moved to Nashville, and our agent called me, and she said, "Hey, Jason needs a guitar player in California for this like guitar, like I can't remember what it was called, but it was like some golf thing, and got to play." And anyway, I went out there and did that with him, and that was within the first week.
Okay, wow.
Wow.
So it took off fast.
Yeah.
Well, you already had an agent, so that's a big deal.
Yeah. Well, I can't really say like I had an agent, but it was she was our band's booking agent, and then she was his, and so it was just kind of her helping out,
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, so I went and did that, and then I met a guitar player for Lady Antebellum while I was out there, Slim Gamble. And man, that guy really helped me out a lot. Like you just meet people, and they just these contacts, you don't think anything about at first, and then they're hitting you up for a gig. So that guy helped me out on multiple gigs, like not long after I'd been there. So
that's awesome.
I mean, I started working as soon as I got there, but I was also landscaping and doing that during the day.
Yeah.
I think we were working like 10-hour days doing that.
Wow.
Yeah, and I would come home and practice, and just try to build my chops up, and then stuff kind of started happening. I'd met a guy, my buddy Ben. I met him probably a year before I moved to Nashville. This is probably the first time I went there, and we just like kept in contact. And then I guess, I don't know, I'd been in town for like 2 or 3 months maybe. And he played with the Swan Brothers. And he texted me one day. And he's like, "Hey man, I'm leaving this gig. Like, would you know, do you want an audition? Like, I can't guarantee you the gig, but I'll get you an audition." And I was like, "Yeah." Like, you know, that's a pro gig. Like, you know, they're on a bus and everything. And so I thought that was it. I was like, done. I'm gonna do it. And so I started woodshedding, learning all their stuff, and ended up going, and I met those guys like Zach and Colton Swan, and we went and hung out, and they just kind of got to know me a little bit, and went over to their house one day, and I played, and I didn't quite have a couple parts all the way, and like I just wasn't quite like a Nashville pro or whatever. Yeah. I didn't really know how to be at first, and you know, so like they didn't like tell me no, but you know, they just kept bringing me out and hanging out with me like over the next, you know, couple weeks.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So they helped you out.
Yeah. They, you know, kind of showed me the ropes. I got to meet some cool people, and just kind of see a different side of it, you know, than what I was used to. And then they gave me a shot, and like, cause he had me come over like 2 or 3 times and play for him, and it finally got to the point where they were like, okay, like he's been practicing and he's doing good enough. And so I went out and played with them for about a month. I basically was filling in. They had another guy that they really wanted to get, but he was playing with somebody else at the time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I was just kind of the middle, you know, the temporary guy, which I'm so glad.
Still a great opportunity, though.
Yeah. Oh, it was awesome, man. I got to play some cool shows, and actually, my first show with them, I want to say it might have been Wyoming or something out there. It was like a one-off. We took the bus out there from Nashville, like all the way out there for one show and all the way back. And it was a festival, and Kid Rock was headlining.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and we were like, I can't remember if we were right before him or a few people before him or whatever. But man, we were playing Life in the Fast Lane from the Eagles. We did this cover, and I played the slide parts during the solo. And so the solo comes up, and well, before that, the sound guy that we had told me to just run a cable and not use my wireless because there's so many frequencies bouncing around. Yeah, and so it would have just interfered. So he's like, "Hey, Tyler, run a cable today." And I was like, "All right, cool." And I've been running a wireless for a long time, and so I just wasn't thinking about it, but you're supposed to put your cord through your strap so you don't step on it.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So I didn't do that. I completely forgot and just plugged it in. And then I walked up to Zach when that solo part comes in, and I just had to like, I mean, it starts pretty much with me just like coming in hot on the slide. And I walk up to it with just like, you know, crazy face, just getting into it, and I stepped on my cord and jerked it right out of my guitar. So, oh, dude, I was a wreck, man. I was like, oh shit, you know, but I just pretended nothing happened, and I just kept playing, and I maybe looked a little confused, but like, you know, what's the sound guy doing? Like, trying to blame it on him.
That's funny.
And then the guy that was, we had a photographer that traveled with us, and he had these badass pictures of me playing, just getting it. And you could see my guitar's not plugged in. Yeah, that was, I mean, I just felt like I blew such a huge thing, you know. I was like, dude, this was my first show with them, like right into it, out the gate, just ruined it. And cause Zach, he kind of looked at me a little confused, like, why is there no sound coming out, you know? But I just, like, I don't know, dude, but I'm ripping it. And man, we got done with that show, and I walked onto the bus, and Zach and Colton are both sitting there, and they weren't really looking at me like anything was wrong, but I think it was Colton. He's like, "Good show, man. You sounded good." And I was just like, "Dude, I blew it." And they're like, "What do you mean?" And I was like, "Man, I stepped on my cord during the Life in the Fast Lane solo." And they're like, "That's what happened," and just started losing their shit, laughing, making fun of me. I mean, yeah, it was. But after that, it was like, okay, so like, pros, you know, do make mistakes, and sometimes you can just laugh about it. And some people would have fired me.
That's true, yeah. At least they were cool about it.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of one of those like, all right, don't let that happen again, But like it was funny, and
did you have a chance to redeem yourself with those guys?
I did, man. I went and that was just the first run I did with them, and then I can't remember if it was the next week or whatever, but soon after that we went back out and I did like 2 or 3 runs with them, I think. So
okay, cool.
Total, I mean, I was with them for around a month or something like that. Not like a month's worth of shows, but just, on and off here and there for a month. And then they ended up getting the other guy, the one that was like kind of waiting for the gig, because that dude was a savage. I mean, just a monster. They call him Blaze. I don't know his real name, but I mean, he's a well-known guitar player.
Okay.
He played with the band Rat.
Yeah.
He played with Stephen Piercy, the singer of Rat.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
He's been around for a long time then.
Well, I mean, he's like my age. I mean, maybe a little. I don't know, but he's not Rat.
Oh, he played with him later.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not
back in the 80s.
Yeah. No. Yeah. He was like recent.
Okay.
But yeah, he was with them, and then I guess he left that gig or whatever. I don't know what the deal was with all that. I never met the guy, but they hit me up and they're just like, hey man, we're gonna give this guy a shot like we told him we would when he was able to, and we feel like that's fair to give him a shot. And I was like, yeah man, whatever. I knew he was gonna get it. Just,
right.
He wanted it more. He practiced more than I did. If I'm being honest, I didn't. I practiced, but I mean, I just kind of did what I had to do.
Yeah.
I could have had a little bit more drive in the beginning with that, but it wasn't where I wanted to be either.
Yeah.
It was just my first like tour bus experience and stuff like that.
What came after that? What was your next good opportunity?
So that guy Slim, Lady Antebellum's guitar player.
Yep.
He hit me up not long after that, and actually he was telling the Swan Brothers because this guy knows everybody in Nashville. Like it's crazy,
small community.
Yeah, and I remember Zach was like, "Hey man, Slim's talking you up," and I was like, "Oh shit, I hope I don't mess this up,"
Yeah.
But anyway, as soon as I left that, I guess I don't know if he knew or whatever, but Slim texted me one day and asked if I'd go play with this guy. I think it was Ryan Brashear. I'm pretty sure. I think I got that right. But he asked me if I'd go play with him, and I was like, yeah, dude, I just need gigs. I was taking whatever I could get. And so I went out and I played with that guy for a little bit. I did probably 2 or 3 runs with him, maybe 4. And then this other guy, I think Ben Bradford, he somehow got a hold of me. I can't remember how that contact came. I mean, there's so many just those little one-off gigs, that you might not have ever met these people, and all of a sudden you're about to go play a 4-hour gig with them.
Just the network.
Yeah.
Did you ever reach a point out there where you just felt like you were hitting a wall and you didn't think it was going to go anywhere?
Yeah, absolutely. So I was doing the landscaping thing, and that sucked. Like,
it's probably not the best job to have if you're trying to pursue an entertainment career because you're wearing yourself out every day.
Exactly. I mean, and, we're in that like hot sun, and then we were working at a mall at the Cool Springs Mall in Nashville. It's giant, and it's just this huge asphalt parking lot, and we're like, if you're doing all the islands in the parking lot, you hit this one with a weed eater and you walk to the next. I mean, you're walking miles and miles a day on asphalt, if you're not on a mower.
Yeah.
And it was brutal.
Heat, yeah.
Yeah. I was tan and in shape though, man.
Well, that helps.
Yeah.
It's a good thing.
But then, like I said, I'd done electrical work for a while, and I went to school for it for a little bit, and so I had that background. And my buddy Colt in Nashville, he's a good friend of mine. We were all like, he's a lot like me, like always doing something with his hands, like tinkering on something, And so me and him we met through another mutual friend, and just got to be good buddies. And then his wife works for a heating and air company. I can't remember what the name of that company is, but anyway, she knew this guy John that worked for an electrical company, and he was the owner. And she was like, why don't you like holler at John and see if he needs help? And so I called him, and I got hired with them, and I worked for that company for like 2 years.
Way better gig.
Yeah. And he was flexible too, man. he should have fired me. God, I was so shitty. I just like smoking pot all the time. I don't know if I could say that on here.
Of course,
dude.
don't do, man.
But yeah, man, I was just like, dude, I would, God, I hope he doesn't ever listen to this, but but think about that. But yeah, man,
I felt like, oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
He knew. No.
Yeah. I was just, dude, I was a lazy stoner, man. Like, I worked hard, and like, I was all right at my job. Like, I did what I needed to do, and, but I was never on time. And if I had to meet up with him first thing every morning, it wouldn't have lasted, but I had to meet up with just the other guy that I rode with.
Yeah.
And he didn't like it, but he never really said anything. Like, he was just, as soon as I got there, he just tell me what to do. But I was also I just kind of had that, dude, I was out late every night partying, out in Midtown Nashville, meeting people and all this stuff, just coming in hungover and shit. Like, dude, it was awful, man. But I did that for 2 years or so, and just playing with random people here and there. Well, actually, back up, I got the Riley gig right about the same time as that I got that electrical job.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So that you asked if I like kind of hit a wall. So with that company that my old band had like a deal, like a booking thing with, one of the guys that worked there, Joe Lee, left and started a management company, ended up managing Riley. And I didn't know who Riley was at the time. And then Joe called me one day and he's like, hey man, I'm working with this artist from Alabama. He's up and coming, we're doing this, I think it was for one of the festivals, like CRS Week. It's like country radio seminar that they do in Nashville. Excuse me. And it was just it's like a showcase. So they do like 3 or 4 songs. Okay. And he's like, hey man, would you be willing to play with this guy? Like he wants to add another guitar player. And I was like, yeah, dude, I need the money, like whatever. I just need the gigs. And so he sent me the songs, and I was like, all right, cool, whatever. I learned them, and there's no problem. Like one of them was a cover, and maybe 2 of them, I can't remember. But anyway, I went and never met any of these guys before. The whole band was from Alabama, including Riley. And I saw the drummer, and he's just had these huge chops and like these sunglasses, just like long hair. And I was like, oh shit, this is what those Alabama dudes are all about. Like, I was like, this guy was gonna be like an asshole, and ended up, man, he's one of the greatest humans I ever met. He was my roommate, cool. My drummer Quinn. So we met up the night before that show because we were playing in the morning, and we met up there, did our sound check, and just like left everything ready to go. So then I got up that morning. I think we played before lunch, and got there, played that show. Met Riley and everything, and I didn't think a whole lot about it at first. I was just like, all right, cool, there's another gig in the bag. And he had told me he would, call me and have me come back out. And I was like, well, I'd played a gig with somebody else, a time or two that said the same thing. Yeah. And not because like I couldn't do it, but that's just how it goes. Yeah. And so about 3 weeks probably goes by, and I didn't hear anything from him. And, I'd been there for, probably less than 6 months, I think. And so I had no right to be like complaining about where I was at that point, because a lot of people, it takes 5-10 years to get anywhere. Right. So I try not to get down on myself too much, but like I remember I was on the phone with my mom. I was just like, yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know if I really want to do this. Like, I don't know what to do. I've never been like, like really business savvy with like networking and meeting people and all this kind of stuff, but I didn't realize it was that was happening itself, just by not being an asshole and just being friendly to people. And and so that's kind of how it worked for me, I guess. It was like a lot of being cool with people, and they're cool back or whatever. But anyway, I was on the phone with my mom. I was like, I don't know about this. And but I'd just gotten that job doing electrical work, and I was like, I didn't move out here to be an electrician, like I could be doing this back home. And it's just, she's like, well, you got to be patient and all that kind of stuff. I'm like, I know, but like this sucks. and literally while I was on the phone with my mom, I get a beep comes in, and it was Riley. And I answered. He's like, "Hey man, I told you I'd bring you out on the road and everything." And he's like, "We're about to get rolling here soon." And he was like, "I'm gonna send you some more songs." And he's like, "Learn them." And he's like, "Your first show will be in Mobile, Alabama." It was like, I think it was November or December. And so whatever the math is on that, I can't remember. But yeah, so I went and played that show at man, it was just so see like the crowd reaction to him back then was nuts. Like,
how big was that show?
It was at the Soul Kitchen. I think that's probably probably like a 1,500 cap room or something.
Okay, it's decent size.
Yeah, and I want to say that one might have been sold out. I can't remember for sure, but yeah, I mean it was a big crowd. Like not the biggest crowd I'd like with the Swan Brothers. We did some big stuff and helped my old band Norlina. We played to some huge crowds, but it was like the first, like they're singing to like all his songs and all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, like they
were there just specifically for him.
Yeah, and it was cool to see like diehard fans like that. They're like the fans are so dedicated to him. Like, I mean, it's insane. And so that's when I was like, okay, well if he keeps me around, I'll stay around.
Yeah. He's blown up now, right?
Yeah. It's been crazy. I mean, I was driving to his house in Jacksonville, Alabama from Nashville, like every week, and he had a Suburban and a trailer, and like we'd all hop in there, and there was 6 of us at that time, including him. I think it was, maybe it was just 5. It was me, Trey, Riley, Quinn, the bass player. Okay, so it was 5 at that point. But man, we we were doing that for a while, and then he got a van, and then we had some members changed up, and the guy Ben that ended up getting me the gig with the Swan Brothers, he was looking for a band at the time, and the other guitar player that we had, he was just kind of going through some stuff, and we, didn't think he was going to be with us too much longer, and so I was like, all right, well, I know a guy, and I thought that Ben is a phenomenal player. He's incredible. I mean, way more technical and everything than I am. Like, I mean, would embarrass me if it came down to it, like in a shred competition or something. Yeah. And I was just like, well, I'll bring Ben in. And he had been a band leader. I'd never done that. That's basically what they called me in for. I was the only Nashville guy in the band. But I was like the least Nashville guy. And I was just, but so I got Ben to come in, and he joined the band, and he was with us for, I guess about 2 years, or I mean, maybe more than that. I can't even remember now. He left last year. He just he wanted to pursue his own thing, and then he ended up having a kid and stuff like that. But so. Anyway, we were a 6-piece with that for a while, and now we're back down to a 5. Well, actually, I think we've got another guy that's coming in. He's playing pedal steel and stuff like that. So, but yeah, that's how I got to play with Riley. He just kind of through word of mouth and knowing somebody, and it's just crazy because like the person that got me the gig, I knew from back here. That's how I mean, he lived in Nashville, but that's how I met him, was our band, and so if it wasn't for that band, I don't know what I'd be doing. I might still be doing electrical work part-time and playing random gigs. Yeah.
What's the biggest crowd you guys have played for?
We did Rock the South. That was like 35,000, I think.
Wow. Yeah. A lot of people.
Yeah, it looks like an ocean of humans, man. You just look out there, it's just like, as far as you can see, it's just people.
What's that like?
Man, it was crazy, but like it's one of those. It's so big, you don't have a choice. There's no flaking out. There's no being nervous. There's no backing out. I mean, there's never any backing out of a show or anything. But I'm just like, with something that big, you're like, oh shit! I just gotta just jump in there. And at the same time, there's so many of them. It's like, oh, they might not notice just me, but then you're on a stage in front of all these people, and they're definitely watching.
Is it cool, like controlling that energy?
Yeah, man. I mean, yeah, you like walk in front of somebody, all these people start like yelling at you or something, and like want you like throwing picks, and that stuff's kind of cool. But honestly, like I'm not a great pick thrower, and I'm not as interactive with the crowd as some of the other guys in the band, just because I don't know, I don't really think about what I'm doing, I guess, when I'm playing, but you know, sometimes I don't know, I just kind of get in a zone where I'm just happy playing, making sure I don't mess up, and I don't know. I mean, I interact with the crowd, but also there's a fine line between like, you know, the showmanship thing. Like, I don't want to. You're not going to take anything away from Riley.
Right. Yeah.
People are obsessed with him and just want to see him, you know. But like, there are some people, and I'm not saying within our management or anything, but there are some management companies and stuff that would, you know, you can't wear a certain shirt, which I get that a little bit more. But like, they don't want some people interacting with the crowd too much. Like,
they don't want you to take away from the main guy.
Exactly. And with Riley, it's like, are you kidding me? Like, I could go up there butt naked and play, and like they're still going to just watch him. I mean, they're not going to want to watch that anyway. But I'm just saying, like, you know, like you're not going to take away people watching him.
Right.
And just, I mean, he's so good at what he does, and I mean, the ladies love him. I mean, guys want to be him. You see guys in the crowd just dressed up, like identical to him. Like,
that's funny.
Yeah, it's hilarious, man. It just, but it's crazy though, like how what he does just like reaches so many people, and everybody's got something to say about it. Like, I mean, I'm not the best. Interact with, like, I like to get done and break my gear down and go backstage and chill, you know.
Yeah.
Some of the guys like to kind of go up and hang out with the crowd more, and I mean, I do that, and I like to meet and mingle with everybody for sure, but that's not why I'm there, you know. Like, I just want to do my thing and, you know, go smoke a joint or something and get on the bus and hang out. Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
I've seen you guys. I've seen videos of you guys perform though. You do a good show. I mean,
I get into it. Yeah, we all do. We don't stand in the same place.
No,
it's very active and entertaining.
I mean, our daggone bass player, like, he flips his bass around like it's a metal show. You know, like when I played hard rock and metal stuff, I've done that before. I don't remember if I ever actually did it live or not, but I learned how to flip a guitar and everything, and never thought it would be a thing in country music. And then our bass player does it. I don't do it because the way, like, my wireless, well, for one, it's kind of his thing, and I mean, it might be cool if we both did it at the same time, but I've got a wireless, and I just have one, and I like to keep it clipped onto my belt. Like, I don't like to change my strap. I'd rather just unhook, throw a guitar with a strap on it and everything, and plug it in. Like, and so I can't flip it. Like, I'd have to unplug it and flip it or something like that. But yeah, I mean, and we rock out, man. Like, we have fun together, and it's crazy.
So, since everything's quarantine, things are starting to open back up, when do you guys think you'll play again?
Man, I've heard, like, our tour manager said something about possibly a show or two in June, but I doubt it. I don't think that's going to happen. Or I think he said there's like one or two still in the books or something.
Yeah.
But last I heard, it's like July 3rd, I think, is when we're originally supposed to get out there. But at this point, man,
still seems early too, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It does, yeah. I mean, but some, you know, they've said that, but then at the same time, I've heard that just like concerts are going to be the last thing to open.
Yeah. Maybe outdoor festivals, everyone wearing masks or something.
I don't know, man.
Well, I can tell you that, like, the casinos are supposed to be starting opening in June. I've got a high-level casino host that reps for Caesars, and I've known for over a decade. And he told me that a lot of the casinos are opening in June, and they're planning events for the end of June, planning a lot of events for July. But even then, they're saying they're going to be handcuffed for capacity and a lot of things. But they're not. We had Joe Rogan. When did it got pushed to November?
Yeah, the Joe Rogan comedy special.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So I feel like a lot of stuff.
Comedy tour, I guess.
I mean, 2-3 months out still.
Because it was originally in June.
And I guess it'll depend on the state too.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so, man. Like, I don't know. It's just I don't. At first, I didn't think it was going to be that big a deal. You know, I was like, maybe we'll be out a week or two.
Yeah.
But that didn't happen.
Yeah.
So I really don't know
Good time to shoot music videos.
Yeah. Something, man. I've been, like I said, I've been working on that. I've got this is a Honda Rebel 250. It's slow as hell, but it looks good.
Yeah.
I've got the thing pretty much done, but I could sit here and talk to you all day about how pissed off I am with the carburetor. I just I'm not a mechanic. I'm not afraid to tear something apart and put it back together, but I've rebuilt it and done like all kinds of stuff. I've done some exhaust and intake work and things like that. So I know it's gonna have to be tuned, but man, it's just so frustrating. Yeah. But yeah, I've been messing with that. And then, like I said, building guitars. I've got one almost done, and then I'm just starting to actually build my own necks, like carving everything. And
nice.
Yeah, I've done bodies and stuff before from just a hunk of wood. Like actually one of my main guitars is one I built with Luke, so I learned a lot of pretty much all that stuff through him.
You making hollow bodies or electrics?
Electrics.
Cool.
Yeah, I'd like to build an acoustic, like one like that.
Yeah.
I will at some point, but right now, electrics are a lot easier.
Yeah,
for sure. For sure.
A lot more complicated.
Yeah, there's a lot going on there.
Gunny's got one, more than one, I'm sure. Matt, Luke's brother, that Luke's made, and some of those things that he made were amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, that one was Luke's.
This one?
Yeah.
Oh, he made that?
No, he didn't make that one.
But that's his guitar.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, that was his prized possession, man. And we were both big into bluegrass, and that's just a bluegrass monster. And I was like, I'm gonna get one that's just as good as, if not better than yours. You know how Luke was, and and so we were always going back and forth. And whenever he died, like Matt had me come actually here, and he was just like, man, I want you to take a guitar, and I was like, I didn't want to, but at the same time, he was just, he was like, he'd want you to have it. And I know he would have. And so I was like, well, that's the one that I would use the most, and that's the one that we always went back and forth on. And it's crazy because I got one of the same. It's a Bourgeois. It's got Dana Bourgeois it's up in Maine. I think it's like Lewiston, Maine. Incredible, best acoustic guitar I've ever had my hands on. And at first, I was picking on them because it's just something. You just don't hear about them a lot, I was like, oh yeah, man, you should have got a Martin or something. I was just kind of.
Martins are nice.
Yeah, and I love Martins. Don't get me wrong, they're great, but man, some of these smaller companies are just nailing it, man.
Nice.
Like just really, just making some great stuff. And so I played that thing every time I was ever at Luke's. I did a lot of work for him. Like if I had some time off of the road, I'd come home and work with him in his shop, or we'd go out and I'd help him do furniture work, and because he had taught me I'd learned a lot of woodworking stuff, like just things like that through my dad, but like I learned a lot of this like specific stuff with Luke.
Yeah, he was really good.
Yeah, and so he'd take me out and work with him sometimes, and I played that thing all the time whenever I was there, and I was like, all right, I'm going to have to get a Bourgeois. And it was between that or a Collings, or if I found a really good Martin D28, I was like, all right, I'll take that. But I really had my eye on one of those. And Alan, our merch guy, well, actually now he's our assistant tour manager. He went to Guitar Center in Nashville, and I actually went to like one of the offices because there's this guy Greg. He's like head of GC Pro, Guitar Center Pro or whatever. And you just fortunately I was able to get on with that, and so it's just like you just get some discounts and things like that. It's just really convenient for the working musician.
Right.
But man, yeah, he went by and to Greg's shop or to his office or whatever. And he had a Collings sitting in there, and he had a Bourgeois really similar to that. That one's actually a Dana Bourgeois signature.
Okay.
So like I think Dana did a lot more of the work on that one himself.
That's like one of the best ones.
Yeah. And then, Alan sent me a picture of a Bourgeois in that guy's office, and I was like, oh shit! I was like, find out some stuff on it. And I think he sent me a picture of the tag on it, and it's called a Vintage D. It's just like based on like vintage specs. It's just it's a dreadnought, which is the style, a dreadnought acoustic guitar.
Okay.
so I was like, and it had just got Peruvian rosewood back and sides on it, and just Adirondack spruce top, just everything that you would want in a badass
perfect guitar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was, I mean, I don't have money saved up like some people do, where I could just go out and just buy something like that. I'm a poor struggling musician.
What's a guitar like that cost?
I think brand new. Mine was right at $6,000, maybe something like that.
6,000.
Yeah.
Some people, I don't be confused with 600.
That's right. Yeah.
They're not guitar people.
Yeah, that's fair. But yeah, I think it was like probably a little over 6,000 brand new for that one. That one, I think even more. But I think they had it for like 3,500 or something, somewhere around there.
Nice.
And I had a guitar that a Nags guitar, which I really loved. They built for me. Again, they're like a smaller kind of custom company up in Maryland, and they built me one and sent it to me, and I played it for a couple years, and it was my slide guitar, and it was great guitar and everything. I mean, I wish I wouldn't have got rid of it, but at the same time, I really wanted. I've got nice electric guitars, you know. You only need so many, and I say that, but I'll continue to get guitars forever. But yeah, I was like, man, I didn't even have an acoustic at the time, because I had a decent Dreadnought a couple years ago, and I ended up selling it. Just actually a mutual friend of mine and Luke's wanted a good Dreadnought, and we kind of went through a little slow spot, I think, and I needed the money, and I was like, I'm not playing bluegrass gigs, so I sold it to him. And I tried to buy it back from him not too long before I got the Bourgeois, and he's like, man, I think I want to hang on to it for a little bit, you know. And I was like, all right, you know, that's I sold it to you. And anyway, so I took that Nags guitar that they built for me in the Guitar Center and tried to see what they'd give me. They gave me more than I thought they would, and then I paid the rest. Actually, I think I used my Guitar Center card or something, but I got that guitar, and they knocked off a little bit because the bridge, the part where the strings go into the body, was lifting just a little bit. Like if they get too dry, you know, they'll like stuff like glues can start to kind of, things can start coming undone. And I mentioned that to the guys at Guitar Center. I was like, I'm gonna have to repair that, and so they ended up knocking off a little bit for me. I think I got it for $3,100.
Nice.
Awesome.
Yeah. So it was a nice, you know, I felt good about it. But I had to replace that bridge, and the bridge that was on it just had warped, like the bottom of it. I mean, they have a concave to them anyway, just a slight one. Mm-hmm. You can't. It's kind of hard to see it like sitting right there. But it had, from just the string pull, like trying to pull it that way, the bottom, like it had the curve still in it, but the back of it was coming up, and so it was coming off the body. And so I ended up taking the bridge off, and I tried to sand it out, but it was going to take too much wood off of it to get it, you know, it was going to be too thin after that. So I called Bourgeois, and they sent me a bridge made for it and everything. And so I put that on, and after I got it done, and it sucks, man, because this is after I got the guitar before Luke passed, and he was like, man, this thing's badass, you know, and he's like, it's close, you know, like we were in that competition to that one. And I was like, I don't know, man. I was like, I mean, I'm happy with it. I've found one that's on the same level, you know, and I was like, but you just wait till I get this bridge finished, you know, like get it glued on right, because all that stuff affects the sound in a major way. And so I started messing with it, and it took a while for me to get the bridge and just buckle down and do it. And he passed away, and then you know, after that is when I finally got it finished, and man, they like if those two things like back to back, I mean, it would be really hard to say if one's better.
Right,
you know?
yeah.
They just...
Luke would still say his is better.
Oh, yeah. yeah. He was like, man, it's the greatest Dreadnought in the world. And I mean, I wouldn't disagree with him, but I'd say mine's just, you know... I mean, I'd give him second best, just, you know, just so he'd shut up about it. But
just for context, Luke was a brilliant guitarist also.
Oh, he was, man. He was.
Never played professionally or anything, but he could have, for sure.
Man, he was the best guitar player I knew that never like really played a show. I mean, I think he did a couple I think he played at a wedding, maybe like during the service, and just kind of little things like that, like messing around. But yeah, man, I learned more from that guy than probably any other human out there. Maybe my dad. I've learned a lot from my parents, but man, Luke was just a wealth of knowledge. That dude was just insane.
Every once in a while, I would get messages.
Yeah.
And I still have them on Facebook Messenger, where he'd be like, oh, and he'd record something for, I don't know, it might be 30 seconds, it might be 5 minutes, and he would just, no, it wasn't him playing, it was just the audio, right? Typically, and it would just be him like, hey man, I'm working on this. How you like this new guitar? He would have this thing, and it would just be him shredding, or him, he did a lot of bluegrass stuff, just whatever it was, right?
Yeah. And
I've still got several of the ones that he had sent me. Thankfully, I never deleted them.
Yeah.
But that was just like his thing, like his happy place.
Dude, he was a much more. He would disagree with you, but I think I would say he was a much more naturally gifted, guitar player than I was. Like. He practiced, but him practicing was sitting down watching TV and just kind of getting used to playing with his fingers, and he was such a good slide player. Like he was just so damn good at it. Yeah. Like he just had such a good feel.
Yeah,
a lot of guys struggle with slide.
His soul was connected to it.
Yeah, he's a
like
real soulful
genius.
Player. Yeah, and but he didn't know what the hell he was doing. He didn't. He didn't know shit, and I don't know shit. I don't know music theory. Like I'm the world's worst when it comes to that.
Well, you're similar in that way too. You were both natural.
Yeah,
you're connected to the music somehow.
Yeah, I always kind of played by ear, and again, I don't have a great ear, but that's just, I guess my ear's good enough to learn how to, I can hear something. And he was just so much better at all that. Like I'm playing, what you call professionally. We'd be sitting there like at his house, and he would have some cheesy movie playing or something with like Steven Seagal or some shit. And it'd be like just some crazy music in it. And I like, he would sit there and just like, it would just play through one time and he'd just like repeat it. And yeah, there's stuff I can do that with, but I'm talking about like not normal shit,
Yeah, he
like,
could pick up stuff really easily.
Yeah.
Yeah, he could hear it. It was amazing.
That's coming from somebody who is surrounded by incredibly gifted musicians all the time. Like he had something.
His brain was wired differently for sure. Yeah, and sometimes he was really ADD too.
Yeah,
so like
super.
He was all over the place, and sometimes it's like he didn't know he was playing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like he'd be doing something else and playing the guitar at the same time. It's like this guy has two brains.
Yeah. That dude. Back when we were like younger and stupider. Well, I think he did this up, probably up till he died, but. Dude, he would just like drive with one knee and just have like the neck of the guitar sticking out the window playing going down the highway. It's just ridiculous, man.
Yeah, he could never be doing one thing at a time.
No.
Hey, we'd be up here having a business meeting, and he'd just be sitting. He'd be, I'm just going to hang out for a minute while y'all finish.
Yeah.
Instantly, he'd just pick up one of Matt's guitars, right, and just start, right, and then we might talk to him. He'd keep the conversation going while he's playing. He'd just picking.
Yeah. So I can't really talk very well. I'm playing it. I'll start like stuttering, like that didn't. Like I won't be able to get words out of it. I don't know. That coordination thing is tough. But
yeah. I think you were telling me about you guys would be watching a movie and Luke, like you guys have the guys over, y'all are watching a movie. Luke would be playing guitar during the movie.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Sometimes it'd be like, God damn it, Luke. You want to watch a movie or do you want to sit here and jam? I'm like, either one's fine. Just pick one.
Yeah.
That's funny.
But yeah. He
wanted to do both.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. That dude was a mess, man. He's a fucking genius.
Great dude, though. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, man. It was a lot of people have best friends, like people that, it's like, oh, yeah, that's one of my best buddies. You'll have a lot of those, but like Luke was like absolutely my best friend. Like, and there's just, few people that would say that, I'm a few people that would say that about him or whatever, but like for me, he was my best friend. And
yeah.
Man, it's just, still crazy to just fathom that shit,
Yeah.
It was nuts.
He's a genuine dude.
Yeah. He was like, he knew shit about everything. Cars, like, you could be like, man, what could I do to to a Camaro, like it's just a old like F-body Camaro or something, to just like, he'd be like, oh man, just blah blah, just do this, and man, you'll be like running tens, you know. It's just like he just knew everything, like more than the average person, you know.
Yeah. Well, he was very intelligent too. Yeah. I'm sure he had an extremely high IQ.
Yeah, I think if he wanted to, he could have done some crazy shit with like college and stuff. Like I'm pretty sure I don't
think he would have done well because he'd be bored.
Well, yeah,
and it was impossible for him to get focused on something if he wasn't interested in it.
Yeah.
If he was interested, he would like master the best.
Yeah. I'm just like I think he had the opportunity to like go to state on a scholarship or something, but he didn't do it, and he just wanted to do something else. But
he didn't need to. He was super successful anyway.
Yeah.
He did very well for himself.
Yeah. I mean, he was so good at like doing the Weathersby Guild stuff. Like, just his attention to detail is what that was just insane.
That was the crazy part for me. Like you'd think, sometimes I'd be with him and his brother Matt. Yeah, obviously my best friend since I was. Yeah. One of my. I'd say I've got best friends. That term is thrown around a lot, right? But I've got 2 since I was 11.
Yeah.
Right. And then I've got maybe 1 or 2 more that came a little later, right?
Yeah.
But we're talking about a very small group, I think, of like really close knit.
Yeah.
And his brother does the same thing, like.
Oh yeah.
You know,
Matt's all over the place too.
He can't focus, I would say, right? Sometimes.
Yeah.
But when they dial in, when Luke would dial in, like the Weathersby Guild stuff, his attention to detail, in those moments, he is hyper focused.
Yeah. Oh yeah, like a laser beam. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it made no sense to me, but that was it. It got whatever it did, something in his brain, like he just dialed in on it and he mastered it. You know.
We get in that flow state. You know?
Yeah.
Dude, he could. This was, not long before everything happened, man. I'd go over there and he just has a piece of a tree, just like a stump that was like a flat cut piece, like 3 or 4 inches thick, leaned up against a sawhorse, and he had like a machete, a couple like tomahawks or like little hatchet things. Dude, he could just stand there and just throw it and just stick in perfect, like almost every time. Like just to be an asshole, he would like go get him and he'd be like, "Hey Tyler," and I'd like turn around and look and he'd just throw it behind him and it could stick in. I'm like, I'm not even going to try to do that because I did, of course, I tried to do it and I just embarrassed myself every time. Yeah, and he was just good, just little tasks, just little.
He really enjoyed life too. Like he was able to appreciate the moments.
I have a picture, that in that case right there is the pamphlet from his service, and he's like on his knees, like on that big rock.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he just enjoyed things like that.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Complex guy.
Yeah. Yeah, super.
Shout out to Luke.
Yeah, man. Yeah. He's sitting right there.
Yeah.
That was crazy times, man. And that was actually when that happened, man, I was on tour and we were out with Jason Aldean opening up, and I got Matt called me and I got the news and everything and I was just like, I'm like sick, man. I don't even want to play. I don't want to do anything here. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was just like, I can't do this. I was a mess. And, but then it just, I was like, what would he want? What would he say? And he'd tell me to stop being a bitch and go play. Yeah. And so when I thought about that, I was just like, okay, I'm going to play. And so I kind of told the guys, like, before we went out there and played, I was like, hey, let's do this one for him, man. Let's send it up. And, man, that was a kick-ass show. Like, we fucking nailed it. And, awesome. And then like our tour manager he's an awesome guy, man. And he rented me a car. It's kind of odd. We were in Jacksonville, Florida, where he started the first Weathersby Guild.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so we were down there, like 6.5, 7 hours away or whatever. And they rented me a car. And as soon as we got done playing, I got off stage. I can't remember if I even changed out of my show clothes, but, my girlfriend she was the first person I called, when I found out, and she was like, "You need to come home." And I was like, I'm going to try whatever. And she said, "No, you need to come home." And so I did. I was like, all right, which I wanted to anyway. But they rented me that car. I drove home, and I took a week off, and luckily a buddy of ours was able to come in and take my place for the week. And so man, I just dealt with that, and I don't know, it's crazy, man. But yeah, he was definitely there that night. Like that last show we played with Jason, like before I came up, and it was just bizarre.
Yeah, it still is.
It is, man. I wake up every day just like wanting to call him about something, and I don't know, man. I've never lost anybody like that. I mean, my grandma, my dad's mom passed away. God, it's probably been 8-9 years ago now, and that was tough. Like, it's always gonna be tough when somebody passes away, but like, I mean, she was in rough shape. She had a stroke, and it was her time.
And grandparents is expected.
Yeah, exactly. But
somebody that's 30 years old, it's not.
Yeah, to be standing in front of a bus smoking a joint and get a phone call giving you that news, it's like nothing can prepare you for that, man.
Yeah.
I mean, it happens every day, but you just don't expect it to happen to you.
Yeah.
And, like, it's just fucking crazy, man.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
Yep. But
I know when you came in, man, and I've always known you for playing the guitar, but obviously the service was a little while after they did it out, but you sang a song, and I was like, oh man, and I knew I've heard you a little bit, but I heard you sing, I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, so I was gonna do play White House Road by Tyler Childers, because he just like, I mean, I don't know, I'd be on my way to do something in the morning, whatever, just we talked all the time, man. Like, I mean, I'm sure, like, he was on the phone all the time with like his buddies, just shooting the shit, or with Matt, whatever. Mm-hmm. And yeah, sometimes he would just be like, yep, keep me going and my engine clean, it's just, and it's like a line in the song, it's just stuff like that. And I was like, I'm going to play that song. And I told his mom, and Joyce was like, you can't play that in church. And,
I was going to say, I was like, ah.
Yeah, I mean, and I mean, I'd sit there and kind of like practice it a little bit. I was like, yeah, Luke would like this. And Matt was all for it. He's like, dude, I'm down, But his mom was like, nah, I can't do that one. And she sent me this song called A Mother's Prayer and wanted me to do that. And I was like, obviously, whatever you want, I'm going to do for you. But man, that was the hardest shit I've ever done. For one, the song was just out of my realm of what I normally do, so I had to make it my own, and that part was fine. I just did it the way that I would do it. But actually doing that, man, in front of everybody, like, that was not easy. And like, it got real hard at the end, and I don't know. And then it was just tough, man. It was not an easy thing to do, but I also just tried to keep in mind like what what he would want and things like that. So crazy.
So what's next for you, man? Like right now, what do you?
Man, right now,
do you guys have any plans or?
Well, I mean, fortunately, some of the I mean, a lot of everybody filed for like unemployment, and I was lazy at first and I didn't do it until like the last minute. And then as soon as I did it, found out like the band Business or whatever, like Riley, basically Riley he's helping us out a little bit.
That's good.
So it's not as terrible as it was at one point, but
right.
But I didn't file earlier just because I was working. Like I was doing kind of some odd jobs. I went and did an electrical job or two and helped my parents do some stuff and things like that. And I was able to get by, and I just didn't do it. And then I did, and then found I got approved for it. But then I found out we were getting help from the band. So I don't even know how that was going into what's next. But basically, yeah, man, we're just chilling until this shit clears up, and then we'll just hit the road. I mean,
so you're not doing any studio sessions or anything right now?
Nah, I mean, I'm staying in Greensboro. If somebody needs some session work, absolutely. Unfortunately, I left some of my like gear and stuff it's in the trailer in Nashville right now, which I hate. I don't like leaving guitars in places like that. But it's the case that thing is in is it'll be fine.
Now, are you guys working on do you guys have a current album out that you're touring with, or is there a new one coming out? Or
he's got one full length album out, and then like some EPs, and I guess he's. I mean, we don't talk like every day or anything, you know. So I don't half the time I don't know what's going on, but I think he's in the process of working on another full length. I don't want to say for sure.
Okay. Cool.
I can't remember honestly. I don't pay attention to all that stuff. Like I could, and maybe I should, but I'll also kind of just choose to stay out of all that and just
focus on the music.
Yeah, I mean, like I try not to get too wrapped up in everything, and I probably should keep up with some of the numbers a little bit more, but at the same time, I don't see a reason why. Like, I don't need to know how this person's doing on the chart compared to this person, or if this person's dropping a new album this day. Like I'll find out about it. And,
right. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, but he does his thing, we do our thing, and then we just kick ass whenever we play shows. And but I mean, you got to be dedicated to it. You know, I mean.
Well, that makes the team work, though. You guys can't all have the same strengths or work.
No, that's why. Like that's just why I don't get into all that. You know,
Yeah.
I don't know. When I'm not on the road, man, I don't think about it. I mean, I'll play. I mean, I love music, but like I'm honestly like at least now, like I said, I'm more building and doing repairs and stuff like that when I'm not playing. Just because we play so much out on the road and but yeah, I mean, I would definitely like to do more session work and things like that. I've just never been the greatest, session type play. I don't know all the theory stuff and all that, but the sessions I've done, they always end up coming out better than you think. You go in a little nervous, it's like, oh man, I don't want to take too long on something, but they always end up coming out cool. And I've done a couple like rock sessions where I got to shred.
That's cool. Yeah.
Somewhat recently, and that was fun. Just getting back in the saddle, doing that stuff. I had to sit there and like really work at it, trying to get my chops back up. Because if you don't sit there and like just shred on that stuff, man, like it goes away.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like working out. Like if you're a bodybuilder and you're not focused on hitting those muscles like a certain way to like really chisel yourself, like you're not going to stay chiseled, and
everything.
Yeah. I mean, you
gotta have to sharpen the tools.
Yeah. It's I don't know, you got to really keep up on that stuff. And I don't care enough about the shredding thing anymore. Like I've been writing more. Like I don't really consider myself a songwriter. Like that term gets thrown around a lot. Like in Nashville, people just be like, oh yeah, man, I'm a songwriter. It's like, well, okay, that's cool. And then, well, I mean, I'm a guitar player.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, I don't know. I've written some stuff that I like and everything, but nothing that's just like, okay, that sounds like something like a good songwriter would have done.
Right.
So I'm pretty protective of like that word. I don't want to be telling people, oh, I'm a songwriter, and then they hear something, they're like, oh, I thought you were actually a songwriter. It's like Riley, like I'll do something and be like, oh man, that sounds good, and then he'll come up like, not us like writing together, but he'll just the next week or something, he'll show up and be like, yeah man, I wrote this like the other day, and it's just like, all right, well fuck you, man. He's just got it,
Yeah.
Whereas, I guess my thing is just, more the music side. And
so does he write all the songs?
Yeah.
Cool.
He co-writes some, but I mean, it's kind of hard to say. I don't know all the statistics, but I'd say he's probably got, as far as what we play, there's probably as many that he's written by himself as there are co-written.
Nice.
But the ones that we used to play and hadn't played in a long time, I mean, yeah, he used to write everything by himself. But once he moved to Nashville, people write with him and stuff like that. And,
yeah.
I'd like to get in and write with them, but it's you got to prove yourself. I mean, you got to be a good song. You don't want to. My like worst nightmare is to sit down and write with somebody and it just not be able to come up with anything, and they just be like, man, that guy sucks. Like I don't want to write with him again. So like we've kind of mentioned it, but it's just never really happened, I guess. But I don't know, maybe eventually.
Well, hey. Why don't we just let you tell everyone how to follow you and if you have any websites you want to promote or anything like that, and we'll just wrap up the show unless you've got something else.
No, yeah.
We'll wrap up the show with you said the song that you wrote for Luke.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So I don't do much with social media or anything. Like I'm pretty chill and low key, But yeah, my Instagram's tylergallowaygtr. Some people think it's from the car. Some people think it's guitar, and I'm like, you choose. And then I've got a Facebook, but I don't really do nothing with it. I think I've actually got like a music Facebook page, but like I haven't been on that in like
Instagram's
years.
better.
Yeah. I like to get on there and look at pictures of guitars and people building them and things like that, and then just, I don't know, I'll post pictures every once in a while. But yeah, you can contact me through there. Anybody that does want any session work or anything like that, or need guitar repairs, I can repair anything pretty much on a guitar. Riley's got a Gibson J45 that had a hole busted in the side of it, like a legit hole, not just a crack. Gibson basically said like they were just like, no, it's not worth fixing. But it was sentimental to him. It was like his first J45.
Oh.
So I fixed it, and it was just crazy, man, seeing that thing go from, a giant hole in it to almost being invisible is like, I love doing that kind of stuff.
Good craftsmanship.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
But yeah, that's pretty much it.
I guess they can follow Riley Green too, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Follow Riley Green. I think his Instagram. His Instagram is rileyduckman.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. And he has a blue check, so they can tell who it is. Yeah.
It's not hard to find him. He's everywhere.
And also, if you guys like the episode, be sure to like and subscribe. And I'll let you wrap it up with a song, man.
Cool. Give this a shot.
No pressure. One take. One take in the house.
Right on. I sat down with this last night.
If you want, we can.
That mic right there will be fine. That one's not on.
This one's not on?
Yeah, I have to do a whole bunch of stuff to get that.
Hey,
we're good.
I'll probably pick everything up. This guitar's so daggone loud, you probably won't be able to hear me. Man, I sat down and started. I hadn't played this since I.
Just point the mic at your mouth. I think it'll pick up the guitar. Okay. It is loud. Yeah.
But I wrote this. I don't know. Probably. This is like a few weeks after Luke passed or something like that. And I sat down last night. I hadn't really played it much since I wrote it, because I don't know if most songwriters do that. Just sit there and play their own stuff to themselves or whatever. But I hadn't played it a whole lot, and I sat down last night, and I was like, it was like a finger picking thing, and man, I was like, dude, I'm struggling. Probably won't be perfect, but anyway, yeah, man, me and Luke just used to talk all the time. On the phone. If I had a question about woodworking, I'd call him. He would know the answer. If it was guitars, like a repair or something, because he went to luthier school, and he could just any question you had, he pretty much had an answer for it, and so we're constantly just on the phone talking, and I don't know, this is just a song I wrote, just kind of letting him know up there, it's like, hey man, we're all still here, holler if you need anything or if you get bored. And so anyway, I'll give it a shot. It's called Talk to Me. Talk to me. If ever you get lonely way up there, I'll be right here listening anytime, anywhere. Still, I had so many things to do, I swear. So talk to me if you get lonely way up there. Talk to me. If ever you get tired of riding clouds, I wish I could come up, but I'd rather bring you down.
Hop in that old Mustang and paint the town. So talk to me, you get tired of riding clouds. Talk to me. If ever I can't find what's on my mind, you always had an answer, even ones I didn't like. Never knew you to tell a lie. So talk to me when I can't find what's on my mind. Talk to me. If ever you just need someone to talk to, you can count on me. I can count on you too. I never had a friend like you. So talk to me. You just need someone to talk to. Talk to me. If ever you get lonely way up there, we're all here listening all the time, everywhere. You being gone is hard to bear. So talk to me if you get lonely way up there.
Beautiful, man.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
It's tough.
Sure. Well, thank you, everybody. Tyler Galloway. And be sure to like and subscribe. See you guys.
Yeah.
Thanks again, man.